Hello my friends, this is Barb Ryder, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm coming to you with our Fall Friday project. So, the first project I have as I kick off this 2025 Fall Friday is using the products that you see right here. Let me just share a little bit of what we have. Everything is Stampin' Up! Product. You can find those on our online exclusives. You can go right here to my website and find all the products that I have. I'll have descriptions in the of everything in the description area. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure that you do that. I'm just glad that you found me, and I hope that you'll be inspired by what you see. First thing we have, we're going to be using Early Espresso and Old Olive Linen Thread. We will be using Cajun, Craze, and Gold Dots. We're featuring the Label Me Grateful, which is an online exclusive, currently available, and it just has sentiments, but part of the star of the show here are all of these dies that come with this word set, and we'll be using several of the dies, the label and the leaves here for this project. And then we're also using some paper that is Splendid Autumn 6x6. There are beautiful different sceneries in this paper. It's hard to share them all, but you get 4 of each design, and here are some of the designs. I'm trying to, those are gorgeous. And then the back sides are all solids that coordinate with the designs. Now this one, I don't know if this is supposed to be pumpkins in the field or what, but it's pretty cool. There you have some more of the sunflowers. What am I missing? Oh, there you go. There's a beautiful fall design, another fall design. These papers are perfect for those fall colors. Okay, so that is the designer paper we're using. We're also using Early Espresso. You need your basic stamper kit, which is scissors. I use my pick tool, take your pick tool, stamp and seal, the mini glue dots. No dimensionals on this project, so we're not using that today. And then here's what we have to create the project. Let me get everything over here so you can see. You have a piece of crushed curry, 11 by 4 1/4, and we are going to score that at the moment. Let's see, we'll just do it right now. We're going to score this at 5 1/2. Okay, let me get over to 5 1/2, and your light, this little light tab on my trimmer is the scoring tool. Alright, so we're going to need this again in a second. We do have a 6x6 piece of designer paper. Isn't that gorgeous? And then the back side is kind of the crushed curry. So there's that. We have an inside piece of basic white, which is 2 by 5 1/4. We also have, like I said, I cut a leaf from the dies. It comes in it's 2 leaves in 1 die. So Timid Tiger. Then I have 2 small leaves, and they're not very different in color, but they are when you put them right next to each other. One is oh my goodness, Cherry Cobbler, and then this one is Cajun Craze. And then I've cut 2 of the die labels out of the Label Me Grateful. One is crushed curry, one is basic white. Okay, so there's all of our parts and pieces. I'm going to kind of put them over to the side while we do some cutting. We've got to do some cutting on our 6x6, and we also have to do some cutting on our card base. We're going to start with the card base. So you're going to score this at 5 1/2. Now here's the trick. We're going to take some of this off. All right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my paper long. I'm going to get my cutting blade, and I'm going to measure over 2 inches. Okay, measure to the 2 inch. All right, I'm at 2 inches. Now I'm going to take my cutting tool and I want to cut from the top to the score line that I've created already at 5.5. There are little teeny tabs. Let me see if I can bring this up here. I don't know if you can see, but there's 2 little points, one on this side and one on this side. And that is where I need to, not points, what is it? Like lines that you can see where you are. Sorry about that. I thought the old cutter had the points. That's what was in my mind. We're going to look for this line because we're going to bring this all the way down to where we've scored it down here. Okay, so let's come back down here so you can see what I'm doing. So make sure I'm back at 2 inches. We're going to take the cutter and I'm going to cut that to my score line, and so I'm looking for my little line over here and I'm bringing it right to my score line right there. All right, now I'm going to leave it there. Let's lift this up and I'm going to take my cardstock, turn it this way, and what I need to do now is I need to cut down my score from the score up to the top. So all we're doing is cutting this section off. Okay, you want your bigger section at the bottom, 2 inches off the top. All right, now make sure that you're lined up in your guide because you want the blade to cut that score area. So I'm going to bring this up, and again, I am going to pay attention to where my cut line is here, and I'm cutting on the score line. So let me just double check that again. Make sure I'm in the guide right there. Okay, and I'm going to cut. Now you could do this by hand also, but I'm going to bring this blade down and I can see my cut line over here, or I just look at my number 2 on my trimmer and that takes me to 2 inches. And there I have taken that piece off. That's what we want to do. Okay, that is what this is what your base should look like. And then this folds over to the front. So this is an extra piece of cardstock you can use for whatever, so we're not going to use that. All right, so now we've got the card base cut out. We need to do some cutting on our designer paper. Okay, for the designer paper, the first thing you want to do is decide, okay, do I want to cut 3/4 of an inch off of this side or this side? I've got more orange, so I'm going to take 3/4 of an inch off of this side here. So I'm just going to bring this over, measure over to 3/4 of an inch, and make sure I'm there. And I'm double checking before I cut, because always measure twice, cut once. That's the rule. All right, so we're going to take 3/4 of an inch. I want this off of this side. So let's go back up here, and I'm just double checking because I don't want to mess up. Let's see, just 3/4 inch off of this side. So here we go. Boom. Okay, so you can do whatever you want to with this piece. We're not going to use it. So that's kind of out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this, and what we need to do now is cut 4 inches from the top. So this goes over to 4. Okay, so you could take 2 inches off the bottom or 4 off the top, whichever way you want to do it. We're going to go 4 inches here, and I am going to slice that. Okay, so here we have 2 by 5 1/4, and we have 4 by 5 1/4. All right, so there's your piece. So now we're ready to put our card together. Well, we've got to do our stamping of our sentiment, but basically put our card together. I'm going to move the trimmer out of the way, and let's go ahead and put some of this together. So the first thing we're going to do is this piece will go inside our card. And you want the leaves, you want your designer paper to show. That's what you want to see. So let's go ahead and, ooh, stuck my finger. Making sure you're right side up. Look at this. This looks so gorgeous with this paper. And that is going to go just like that. Okay? This white piece is going to go on the inside flap here. This is where you're going to write your sentiment, stamp your sentiment, or write your little note, sign your name, all those things. Okay? Now let's turn this over, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this bottom piece on our flap right here in the front. Okay? And look how this balances out. It looks just like the trees, even though it is cut apart. Isn't that gorgeous? So you still have the beauty of the design of the that was on the 6x6, but there you go. I love it. Okay, so then you open it, and that's what you have. All right, let's finish our focal point here, and we are going to stamp our sentiment on the white, and I have You Are So Special, and again, that's from our Grateful label bundle, using Early Espresso, and ink this up, and I'm going to bring it, get myself a little closer. I want this stamped right in the middle, and you'll see why. Well, let me see. Middle, I kind of want it in the middle, maybe to the right a little bit. Middle right. Okay, there we go, Barb. Boom. Have to just commit sometimes. Okay, there you go. I got it. That is what I want. All right. Let's put this out of the way. Now we're going to bring our trimmer back, and we are going to cut this out. We're going to make this smaller, put it that way. All right. Let me grab my trimmer again. We're going to move that over. And let's see how much I want to take off. I want the shape of the outside. I want that the same, but I'm going to trim off here and here to make the white skinny. So let's just, how much do I want? Just a little bit, because there's the guide. Oh, so what is that? About a 1/2 inch. So I'm measuring the 1/2 inch line over on my trimmer here, trying to make sure it's straight. And on that 1/2 inch line, okay, is that good? Yes, I think so. Yep. All right, here we go. Boom. It's always scary. All right, so there, that 1/2 inch off. Let's turn it this way and see about a 1/2 inch off over here. Let's take a look. There's the 1/2 inch mark. How's that? Nope. See, it would cut off my the words. So I need to come over a little farther, and we're actually going to cut this at. Oh, that is a half inch right there. Duh. That's the 1/2 inch mark. That was 3/4 mark. I don't want 3/4. 1/2 inch will work. Okay. So yeah. So what you do is you cut off 1/2 inch off each side. As long as you know, stamped in the middle there, I guess. All right, so I'm just going to be gentle in laying this down so I can hold it in place. There we go. All right. So here's what we have, but I still have the curves on the outside, and put this trimmer away, and let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to take our crushed curry, we're going to take our sentiment, and that is going to go right in the middle of this piece. And I want to make sure that I'm lining it up. I think I'll do it this way so that it comes right to the edge on, and make sure it's straight. Not straight. I'm just kind of shaping it before I push down. Okay, there we go. All right. See what we have? Just like that. Instead of just doing a strip across, I still have these nice little indentation from the die itself, so it looks like it's supposed to be that way. And again, I intentionally moved over to the right because we are going to be putting our leaves over on this side. Now, I know we hate to cover up this beauty, but that's what we have to do. But you can still see the gorgeous, that it's trees, right? So let's, you can come up higher, because when they open the card, they're going to see all the beautiful, right? So let's see, how far up do we want to go? I think about right there. So you just have to have an eyeball. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to turn this over and then see how I want to, see how far up I want. I want to be about right there. And I am just going to put my adhesive on so that I'm just rubbing it on my skin, because my sticky gets, it goes back down in there. And my skin will catch it so I can bring it up. Okay, there we go. Alright, that's what I need. And I got some adhesive over here. There we go. Alright. Let's lay that down. Try to get it straight. I think that's pretty straight. Okay. And then see, I don't have any adhesive sticking out on here, so nothing sticky there. There's what we have. Let's go ahead and we're just going to add our leaves. We're going to take that one, and maybe I'll just put that one up here. I don't know how I want to do these yet. Let's maybe we could come off of there. And I don't know, maybe we can make it like falling leaves. I'm going to take the espresso and let's see. I'm just trying to make my design, because I also have my little Cajun dots we're going to do here. I don't really see any green in here, and that's why I went with the espresso, and I used the espresso ink there. So let's grab this and let's make our twine bow. And all I'm doing is just making a little bow, and I just get that there and just play with it until I get it the size that I really want it to be. Just like that. And let's trim that up. I might even trim it smaller, I don't know. We'll wait on, I'm not sure about these little leaves. I know that this is going to go like right here. So, and then the bow will kind of go on the leaf there. So I want it over far enough so it doesn't interfere. Okay, so that's what I want. I just need to put a little bit of glue on the back of my leaf, and so let's grab our, this is part of my stamper kit, my silicone mat. I use it all the time, and there we go. And let's put this, make sure you don't have, you know, adhesive all over the back, just what's going to catch it over here. Let's come about right there. Mini glue dot are the best friend of any of the ribbons or the twines when you're attaching it to your cardstock. And I like to take and roll the mini glue dot up kind of in a tube. I don't know if you can see that. It's like in a tube. And then I just put that on the knot area of the bow that I created. This will go over here. And do I want to go like that? Let's do that. Now we still need to fit these guys in here. Maybe I'll pop these up. I could do that. Do I want to... Let's see. I do think I'm going to pop them up. So I am going to use some dimensionals. I said I wasn't, but you know, it's a woman's prerogative to change your mind. And I'm changing my mind. Okay, I cut one of the large dimensionals in half, or if you've got the minis. I don't have any minis right handy. So let me make sure I've got the back side, because there's some great, nice detail in these leaves. Okay, so there's that one. And where should we do this? Whoops. Sticking out a little bit on that side. We don't want dimensionals sticking out. I just feel like it needs to go behind here somewhere, you know. Like these leaves need to go behind these other leaves. Maybe. I'm not gonna push it down. I'm not gonna commit yet. So let's do that, and then take this sticky off. Oh, there we go. And what should we do? Should we put another one like right here, just in the leaf? I think it needs to go this way. All right. Just trying to get this where, I don't know. I want this. All right, we're just going to do that. There we go. We're committing so that we have our leaves on there. Okay? That's what we have. And then last but not least, let's go ahead and put some of these Cajun Craze. They're Cajun Craze and gold. Now, I don't know if you could see it in the camera, but there are little flecks of gold in these gems, and the gems have, let's pull this out, 3 different sizes. So you've got large, medium, and tiny, small. And let's see, where should we put those? Take your pick tool, and the putty is fabulous. So we've got this going on here. So I think I'm going to take a medium. I don't know. Do I want it on the white? Let's do that, and then we'll take a tiny one and come up here. Let's take the large one. We can bring it up here. I think we'll bring it over here by the leaves. I don't know. I'm not excited about, maybe because they're more bubble shaped than flat. I don't know. In my mind I was thinking flat, but anyway, you can do all kinds, it's your preference. You can put gems on or not. Maybe if I come down, if I come closer, that's what it needs. It just needs to be closer. There we go. That feels better when I look at it. All right, look at that beautiful fall card, and you are so appreciated. Now the sentiments, let me grab this. You could stamp something else on the inside. Let's see. Well, you don't have much room. You are so appreciated. You could say thank you. You could say you're the best. That's the other 2 that might fit in here. And then the other thing is just write your simple note yourself. So that is our first Fall Friday. I hope that you will try this technique, and I will have the descriptions of the card and the product in the description area on the YouTube posting. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate your time. Make sure that you've subscribed and hit the thumbs up, the like button if you enjoyed this video. I would sure appreciate it. Thanks again. Blessings. Bye-bye.